Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, September the 15th, and welcome to day 2 of everyone being online for virtual learning. So what are we going to do today? We're going to continue talking about functions. Today we're going to evaluate functions from graphs. Okay, so yesterday we talked about how do we use Desmos to actually input a function value using and with an equation, put it in Desmos and get Desmos to evaluate the function for us to figure out, okay, if we stick in that number everywhere there's an x, what's our output going to be? What value do we get? So we let Desmos do that for us. So hopefully you've already submitted that assignment that was due yesterday. I am going to take a grade on it. Today, we're actually not going to use Desmos because we're just going to be looking at graphs. We're going to be looking at a picture and figuring it out from there. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is go into Canvas and click on Modules. So remember, this course that I'm making my video in is slightly different on the side over here. Like you don't see everything. Let me go into Student View here. You don't see all of this stuff over here. I haven't actually updated. This is the one that I make my videos in, but you still have modules. You should click on Modules. Don't forget to do today's attendance check-in. Don't want to have to count you absent. And then scroll down to the bottom of the page. And if you haven't already collapsed your Unit 1, because it was really long, then collapse it right there and you don't have to look at all that stuff anymore. So scroll down the bottom of the page. Here's the date. Here's where this video is that you're watching. And here are our Unit 2 Lesson 3 journal slides. So let's go grab those journal slides and let's just one actually. Let's put this slide, copy, let's paste it into our journal. Go down the bottom, click paste. There it is, do not link. Let's go back up to the top and let me zoom in. Let's update our table of contents. So this is Unit 2, this is Lesson 3, and this is evaluating functions from graphs. Oops, I still spelled that wrong. So remember, you can pause the video at any time and catch up with me. So click, highlight, insert link, slides in this presentation, and it should be slide 25. Remember, if yours is not scrolling down all the way to the bottom, then you can arrow down with your keyboard. Keep clicking the arrow down key, and it'll scroll down for you. Your Chromebooks kind of freak out sometimes and they don't scroll all the way to the bottom. So then we have to hit apply. So there we go. So now I can click this. It's going to take me to today's slide. So it says connecting a function notation to a graph. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We have been given a function here. Remember we talked about how yesterday this just means this is a function. It's telling us the name of the function is f. And it wants us to actually find these values. What's f of -1? We're going to type our answer. So this is what we did yesterday. So this is going to be a good review of what we did yesterday. So I am actually going to open Desmos up in a new tab. Now, remember, on your Canvas course, down here at the very, very last link, it doesn't say connected. It says Desmos. So you can go to Desmos from right there. Let's go back to Canvas and it'll open up a thing and it'll say load in a new tab. You can click that. So I have it bookmarked. You may even want to bookmark it on your bookmarks bar. It's not a bad idea. So let's type in this function. F of x is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 2. So remember, we have to type in the function name exactly the way they give it to us. Is equal to x. Now I gotta close this out. I have to come down here where it says show keypad, and there's my squared button. X squared minus 3x. So the rest I'm just going to type with my keyboard, plus 2. Okay, so now I come down on the next line. I want to know what is f of -1. So I want to know if I plug in -1 here and here, what do I get? What is -1 squared? Minus 3 times -1 plus 2. Well, let's just let Desmos do that for us. I say f of Desmos, plug in -1 for me. What did we get? We got a value of 6. Let me change this feature because it lets y'all see it a little better. So we got a value of 6. So over here, I would come and put 6. So f of -1 is 6. Okay, now it wants me to evaluate what is f of 0. So I don't even need to erase this. I don't even need to erase this fully. I just need to come back here and change the value that I am plugging in now. So now Desmos, tell me what f of 0 is. Well, it's 2. So if I plugged in 0 here and here, I would be left with 2. We're going to type 2. So now I'm going to do the next one. What's f of 2? Hey, Desmos, if I plugged in 2 into that equation up above, what would I get? Oh, I would get 0. Okay, so we're getting our values. So I hope you're noticing that I'm putting in values for x. These are my x values here. My inputs are x, and it's giving me outputs. And outputs are what? Y. So it's important to remember that inputs are x, outputs are our y values. That's really important. So the next one I want to do is f of 3. So now I come in and instead I'm going to plug in 3. What do I get if I plug in 3? I get an output, I get a y value of 2. Okay, so now I come over here and I put 2. So the last one I want to do is 4. Now I want to plug in 4, Desmos. I get 6. Tells me that my value is 6. So this is what the connection I want us to make, that these numbers here in the parentheses, remember, is x. So what comes out is an output. So those are my y's. So let's fill in our table. So this really could be x and y values. So that's what we need to remember, that f of x is just another name for y. F of x all together, function. Okay, so it's y as a function of x. They like to say that sometimes. Which one is a function y, is a function of x? Which one shows y as a function of x? Okay, so we want to type in our x values. So that's all the values that were inside our parentheses. The next one we had 0. Then we typed in 2 for an x value. Then we had 3 and 4. So I'm just going to fill in my table here. So remember, everything inside the parentheses is an x value. That's what we plugged it in for. Back up here, we plugged it in for x. So my outputs are my y values. So I want to fill those in. So when I had -1, I got a value of 6. And when I had the x value of 0, I got an output of 2. And when I had an x value of 2, I got an output y value of 0. And when I had an x value of 3, I got a y value of 2. See, that was its partner. And then when I had an x value of 4, I had a y value of 6. Okay, so now what I can do, because I filled in my table, I just want you guys to notice that when we get inputs and outputs, we are actually getting ordered pairs. That's what it actually is. It's an ordered pair. This is the ordered pair, -1, 6. I can write it as an ordered pair if I wanted to. So I have a point over here. I want to graph this point then. Let's graph -1, 6. So I'm going to drag my point over. I start at the origin. I need to go over -1. So that's this direction, x. And then it's +6. So I have to go up to 6. There's one point. So now I want to graph this one, 0, 2. So I start at the origin. So 0 is my x value. So I don't go left or right. And I go up to 2. Okay, the next one is 2, 0. Let's graph that one. So I start at the origin. I need to go over to 2 for my x value, and I need to stay on the x-axis here. I don't need to go up or down any because my y value is 0. So then my next value is 3, 2. So I start at the origin. I need to go over 1, 2, 3 in the positive direction of x, and 1, 2. I need to go up to, I think I need to bump that one up just a tiny bit. It wasn't quite on 2. There we go. This one needs to be at 4, 6. So I start at the origin. I have to go +4 in the x direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have to go up to 6 right there. Now I hope you can kind of see the shape. It's not perfect, and if I connected it, it kind of dips down a little bit lower over here, actually. So if we were doing this on pen and paper, we would actually connect these dots, and you can see it's going to make a U shape. But I hope you can already see that. So the whole point of this was to show you that anytime we are getting inputs and outputs from an equation, we actually do have a picture going on. And it's our inputs are x, and that's where x is, right? So what's inside the parentheses? It should be really easy to remember. If it's called f of x, then you should remember, oh, well, okay, x is inside the parentheses, so it's actually a value of -1 for x, and 6 is my output, my y value. So anytime you're getting inputs and outputs, you're actually getting ordered pairs. And so what we want to take from here, take away, that's our notes for today, is we actually want to practice this. So I'm going to hit the next button. So if you were still on the journal, this Unit 2, Lesson 3, I'm still on the modules page, guys. I'm just hitting next on the bottom so I don't have to go back to the modules page, but you can. It says evaluating functions from graphs. It's the last, I was just on this page here, and I hit next, so it took me to this one. If you want to go back to modules and look at it, you can. So this assignment is a little bit different than what we've been doing as far as how you're going to submit it. And I have instructions here at the top. So the first thing you need to do is you need to click load evaluating functions from graphs in a new window. So click this gray bar. It's going to tell you right here. Here it is. So it's bringing up a worksheet, and this is called Cami. This purple bar, this is the Cami thing. It's going to let you actually write on this with your mouse. Or even cooler, if you download the Canvas student app on your phone, just go to your app store and Google Canvas student, and you sign in with your same Google sign-in that you do on your Chromebook. Guys, you can do this on your phone and write on this worksheet with your finger. So cool. So the reason I'm doing this is because we literally just have to write one number. So if you have to use your Chromebook, maybe you don't have data or something on your phone, you don't want to waste all your data, that's fine, that's cool. But you just literally are writing one number with your mouse. It's not like a ton of stuff we have to write. Okay, so I'm done with the notes. You can close that out. We don't need that anymore. And I don't think we're going to need Desmos anymore. So notice you have to load in a new window. And once you go back here, look, it's gone. It's not going to let you load it again. You can only open it up one time. You're going to write your answers on here. And if you're working from your phone now, you can use your finger to write. And then the important thing you have to remember is, see this right here? This is how you're going to submit this. After you're finished writing all your answers, you're just going to come over here and click this save button, submit. And it's not going to let you write anymore once you do that. It's going to lock it. It'll tell you have to unsubmit it if you want to write some more. So we're going to test this out. Since everyone's at home, and I hope it's not too confusing, but I think it's going to be really nice for some of our worksheets. So let's talk about this. This is actually two sets of problems over here. You've got the ones over here on this side. We're going to work 1 through 8 first, and then we're going to use this graph over here to look at 9 through 16. So I want to work at least 1 through 8 with you guys. We'll see how long my video is getting in a minute, but I'm going to work most of these with you. So what we're doing, it says find the function values. Okay, so now they did not give me an equation. I do not know what the equation is for this graph. So I cannot use Desmos to do it today. Yesterday, we were using Desmos, but I can't do that anymore because I don't have the equation. I can only use Desmos if I have an equation to type in. I don't have an equation. I just have a picture. So I have to use the picture they gave me. But remember, we can figure this out. Remember, we just said this stuff is really ordered pairs. So inside my parentheses here is my input. This is what they put in for x, right? So if my x value is -1, it's basically asking me, what's my y value at that spot? So I come over here on my graph, and actually this is how you're going to fill this sheet out. And if you want to use dots or draw, but you're going to come down here and you can click this drawing tool right here. You can even choose your color. I'm going to use pink because I like pink. You can change your thickness of your line. I think that's pretty good. This is the transparency of it. So just pick a color. I'm going to do pink, and then you can click this and it'll close it. And now it's going to let me draw on here. So if my x value, which is -1, is right there, is -1, go up to your line, go up to your picture. So this is the point I'm looking at right here. So if I'm looking at this point, because that's where my x value is -1, What is the point on my line there? What's the y value? Where is that corresponding to on my y? Well, it's right here. That's at 1, 2. So my output there is actually going to be 2. My y value is 2. So notice how I'm still in the drawing tool, so let me keep writing. Okay, so let's do another one. If my x value, my input is 3, what's the output? What's my y value going to be? So I'm going to come over to my picture, 1, 2, 3. Here I am, I'm at 3. I need to go to the point on my picture. What is my y value there? Oh, look, it's -2. So this one is -2. Okay, so all you're doing is looking at pictures here. That's it. I'm going to erase this so that I can write some more. Okay. All right, so it says, look at this one. What if my x value is 5? What they gave me an input of 5. What's the output? So remember, your outputs are your y values. So if my input is 5, so I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From there, you have to go up to your graph. So I'm interested in this point right here. That's where my x value is 5. What's the y value there? Trace it back. Oh, it's 2. Okay, interesting. So let's do another one. What if my x value is -2? So I come over here, 1, 2. Here's my x value of -2. Now, do I have to go up or down to find my graph there? I'm sitting right on it, right there. So what is that y value there? Trace it back. What's the y value there? That's the origin that I've traced it back to, right? So my y value is actually 0. Now, it's not super pretty when I write on here with my mouse, guys, but I don't care. I can read it to -2 to 0. Okay, so now let me erase this again. And if you want to write on your graph like this is what's super cool. You can do that. You can write on your graph too, and you can always erase it before you submit it. Or you can leave the writing. I don't really care. So now look at 5, 6, 7, 8. Now they're actually asking us to work backwards. That's what we need to understand. They're telling me f of x equals 4. They're saying I plugged in some x value, I put in an input of some x, and I got the value 4. So 4 is my output. So we have to remember, this is my x value here. These are all x's. I'm actually writing x. These are all my x values. In the parentheses is x. Got to remember that. I get my y value. But now look at this. Oh, well, they're not telling me what x is inside my parentheses. Here's x. I don't know what it is yet, but they've given me this side. That's y. So actually this time they've given me the y value of 4, and they want me to find x. So I'm going to work backwards. I'm not going to start on my x-axis this time, because remember, this is your x-axis, and that looks awful. This is your y-axis. So now I'm starting on my y-axis. My y value is 4. So I'm going to start here at the origin, but now I'm going to go up 4. So here is my y value right here. Now I've got to trace it to my picture. My picture's over here. So I'm actually looking for my x value here. Do you see that? They gave me the 4. I want the other value for that point on my graph. Well, it should be 6. I traced it back to the x-axis at 6. Okay, let's do a couple more. Again, here's my x. X is your input. This must be my y value that they've given me. Because see, it's telling me what does x equal. So they want you to find the x value here. Well, my y value is -4. So I'm going to start at the origin. And now I'm going to go down to -4 right here. I've got to trace it back over to my picture. There's that point right there. So I want to know what is my x value at that point. Well, I just traced it back to, it's also -4. So that's the point, -4, comma, -4. Are we catching on yet? The hard part is figuring out, okay, am I looking for my x value or my y value? Okay, let's keep going here. F of x equals -6. Okay, and you should be able to write on this worksheet the same way I'm writing on it. I hope that's clear. You should be coming over here and clicking this tool. So they're telling, remember, the X is in the parentheses. That should be pretty obvious. And this must be my Y value that they've given me. I'm looking for my X value because they want to know what does X equal when Y equals -6. Okay, so I'm going to the origin and I come down. Now, remember, I have to start with what they give me. They gave me -6. So I'm all the way down here. And I've got to trace it to my picture. So you should be able to look and find, oh, well, at -6, my picture's over here. So here's my graph. It's this point. What is the X value at that point? And these little boxes are good to draw. So at -6, my X value is actually, well, in between -4 and -6. So what value is that? I hope you say -5. So my X value is actually -5. Okay, let's do this one, number 8. So there's my X value. I don't know what it is. They're asking me to find the X value, but they gave me my Y value of 6. So I start at my origin here and I go down. Actually, I don't. It's positive, isn't it? Let me erase so we can see. I've got some stuff over here. Okay, so they told me to go to Y value of 6. So this time, instead of going down, I'm actually going up to 6. That's right here. And I need to find my picture. Well, it's over here. So then I'm going to trace it back to the x-axis. That's this value right here. So what's in between 6 and 8? Hopefully you're saying 7. Okay, so on these top ones, you're finding your y value. And then the bottom ones, they've given you the y value, and you're finding the x value instead. And it should be clear because, look, they're telling you what is x equal. These, they want the value here. They've given you in place of x. These, notice we still have x. They've given you the y. So I'm maybe going to do a couple over here. What if I start, I'm going to do, how about this one here? I'll do number 11 with you. G of -8. So remember, x is in the parentheses. What is my y value? They're asking me to find what is my y value if x is -8. So just keep your axis straight. Remember, this is your x-axis, and this is your y-axis up here. So you might need to write them on your paper. You can do that. So if I started at the origin and I go x value of -8, that's down here, right here. So now I need to trace it to my picture, wherever my picture is, which is right. And I know that this one is kind of hard to see, but look, guys, you can zoom in if you need to, okay? You actually can zoom in pretty far and then use your bars or your mouse. You might have to scroll. So here it is. So I've traced it down to here. So I need to trace this back to the y-axis because I'm looking for that the coordinates of that ordered pair right there. So at -8, my y value is in between -6 and -8, which is -7. Now let me do one more down here on this one. I know this graph is a little harder to see, so don't freak out if you're having trouble. They should be pretty clear, but again, zoom in if you need to. We can zoom in more if we want to. That's the beauty of this. It lets you zoom in. Okay, so it says if g of x equals -2, find the value of x when g of x equals -2. So remember, my x value is inside here. They didn't give me the x value. This is my y value. So now I need to say, well, I have a y value of -2. So here we go. Now this time I'm going to start by finding my y value. So I know it's -2. It's right here. So I have to trace left or right and find my picture. So my picture's over here. It's this value right here, and I'm going to trace it up. So what number did I just write over there? -4, -2, -4. That was -6. So my x value there is actually -6. Okay, so not a lot of work for these. Remember, I said this unit, we're not going to be doing a ton of paper to pencil work. We're doing a lot of looking, deciding, and thinking. So that only leaves you 6 of these left to do on your own, 6 out of the 16. So I worked 10 of them with you, so there's no reason why you shouldn't have this assignment submitted and get it submitted today, okay? If you have questions or you have trouble getting Cami to work, send me an email and let me know. All right, guys?